Hi guys, welcome back to Making Frugal Fun. I'm Shannon and I share our family's journey to pay off over $500,000 of debt, some frugal living tips, organizing, budgeting, and all that fun stuff. So make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss anything. Since I've been sharing our debt-free journey over the last 3 years, I get a lot of different questions about how to use cash envelopes and just budgeting, debt payoff, all kinds of questions. And one of the most common questions I get asked is how you do the cash envelope system when everything's online, when you're shopping online, everything's digital, and I'm going to cover that today and some of the most common frequently asked questions about cash envelopes. Before we jump into that, let me just briefly touch on what the cash envelope system is if you're a total beginner. So there is some research that says when you're using a debit card, especially a credit card, but also a debit card, you spend more because you don't feel the cash leaving your wallet. You're just swiping and you're kind of like, there's money in there. I know there's money in there. And so you don't really feel the pain of handing over your cold hard cash to the cashier. And that's where the cash envelopes can really help. Are they necessary for everybody? I don't think so. I think that you can control your spending using a debit card. However, in the beginning of our debt-free journey, we really wanted to do everything we could to make sure we were only spending money on complete necessities, and so we thought the cash envelope system would be a great idea for us to try, and it really has helped us control our miscellaneous spending. And since then, there have been a few months where we just got lazy or busy or overwhelmed, and we didn't go to the bank and pull the cash out and take the time to stuff the cash envelopes. And those months, we did overspend. When you don't have the cash out and sorted into your envelopes, it's so much easier to feel like you can just dig into other budget categories. You know that there's money on the card or in your account, and so you kind of just swipe and go. So how do you even start with the cash envelope system? The first thing you need to do is create your budget. You decide how much money you're going to spend in each category in your budget on rent, utilities, clothing, entertainment, and everything as you usually would create a budget. And if you need help with creating your first budget, I'll drop some helpful links and past videos in the description below, as well as some helpful freebies and free printable cash envelopes that I also have. But the first thing you want to do before you can use your cash envelopes is to create your budget. Now that you have your budget, you're going to look at all the categories and decide what does need to be paid online and what needs to be pulled out as cash. I do not pay my rent, my electricity, the TV, the internet in cash. We do have those set up as electronic withdrawals, and the majority of them are on auto pay, making sure that we don't pay anything late, and it's just such a great convenience thing. Now, it took a while to work up to that, and I'll get to prepping your bank account for cash envelopes in just a minute. Once you look at all your categories, you're going to decide, okay, these things are going to be paid online, and these things are going to be paid in cash. So how do you know what budget categories to pay in cash and which ones to pay online? It's really up to you, but usually those expenses that are set every month, like rent and utilities, it's okay to leave those as online payments. For one, it's just the convenience factor, and for two, you're very unlikely to go over budget because these items are usually pretty much the same every month. You don't have to worry as much about impulse buys with like your electric bill or the water bill or anything like that. So you can leave those categories as budget items that come out of your bank account directly with your debit card or on auto pay. Some items that are great categories to pull out as cash every month are your groceries. If you have trouble going over your grocery budget each month, don't even bring your debit card in there. Take your $100 bill or whatever you use to budget for groceries for that week, and that is it, into that grocery store. And you know, it could be like embarrassing, you might have to put some stuff back, but that will help you stick to your budget if you know you don't even have your debit card on you and you just have the cash. Another thing would be fun money, like things for holidays, Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, Clothing is one that can be very easy to get out of control on. So what you would do is you would print out a cash envelope for each category that you're going to stuff with cash, and then of course decide based on what's left over in your budget after you've paid those necessary items out of your bank account: rent, utilities, transportation, health insurance, or any other essential items. And then you're gonna say, okay, here's what we have left over for the month. You may also wanna just set aside in your budget that's gonna be auto-drafted or paid electronically your planned debt payments. And then you're like, okay, here's what we have left over. Let's allocate a budget amount to each envelope, and then you're gonna stick to that. What should you use to create your cash envelopes? Really anything. I have free printables. I have some that are $1 in my shop, like these Valentine ones. You can also find some really cute binders that have like the clear plastic envelopes, and I'll link a few of those that I found on Amazon. You can also just go to Dollar Tree and get a big box of regular white plain envelopes, and you can write on those. You can get some cute multicolor envelopes off Amazon. You can make your own. Honestly, like, it doesn't matter. The whole point is that you are taking control of your money each month and setting aside set budget amounts in your envelopes, and you're sticking to those amounts, and we're staying on budget. Okay, so where are you gonna store these? Are you gonna carry them around with you from place to place in your purse? That's another thing that is up to you. Personally, I keep my fun money budget, which my husband and I each set aside a little bit of cash for fun each month. This is like our personal miscellaneous spending. So I might use it to buy clothes or get a book that I'm wanting to read, or go grab ice cream or something fun like that. So the money that I have budgeted for fun, I'm gonna bring with me in case there's like a splurge thing that I wanna do with it or whatever. Our cash envelopes that we set aside for groceries, we usually just pull that money out whenever we're going to go grocery shopping, or if we have money set aside for Valentine's Day or something, just when we're leaving the house to go do something with that money, we'll bring it with us. And this prevents, obviously, like being tempted to spend the money on other things when we're out and about. And also, you just don't want to be carrying around like a ton of cash with you. And if you lost it or got your purse stolen or something, it would be such a headache because all that cash would be gone, and that would totally stink. Okay, the number one cash envelope question that I get asked is definitely, how do you do cash envelopes when you are shopping online? So if you want to pull out all your cash and then there's a great sale and you want to go buy something online, what we do is we will make the online purchase. We have a little money bucket that we will then put the cash in. So if I saw the world's cutest top for $18 on Amazon or something like that, I would make the online purchase, and let's say it was like $17.99. I would just round up to $18. So I would take my 20 out. It's obviously much more helpful if you have exact change, but you know, a lot of times we just have like 20s or 10s. I would take my 20 out, put it in like our home bank basically, keep it in there, and then at the end of the month, we're going to put all of this cash back in the bank to be used for the following month. Or sometimes we'll be like, well, we have just as much in here. We made so many online purchases that we have enough in here to reimburse the cash envelope. So we'll look here first, how much do we have in here, so we can more conveniently restuff our cash envelopes. Or we'll put it back in the bank if for some reason there's like a lot in here and we just want to get it back in the bank so we don't overdraft our account or something like that for the next month. That's how we do online shopping. And so I would make myself change if I could find a couple bucks in here. Sometimes I just allow it to round up and I'm just like, well, it pads the budget for the next time or whatever. That brings another good point to what we do with coins. When we have change, sometimes it ends up in our car. You know, everybody has like a little spot in their car that has change in it. But we try to empty those, you know, whenever we think about it, into here. And we keep our coin change in here. We recently took it all to the bank. You can get these to roll your coins at Dollar Tree, a big pack of them, and we rolled all the coins ourselves so you don't get the fees from like the Coinstar machines and all that stuff, and took it to the bank and deposited the coins. That's what we do with our coins. Another question you might have is, what do I do with the leftover cash in my envelopes? Well, if you're on a debt-free journey, maybe you want to put that extra cash towards debt that month, or maybe you want to start like a little sinking fund. Like if you had $30 left in your clothing budget and you were saving up for a coat or like boots or something like that, like a larger clothing purchase, you could be saving up for that in your cash envelope. So that's a really great thing to do. Also, a lot of people wonder, like, can I steal from another cash envelope to fund my clothing cash envelope or something like that? That's, again, up to you. I like to just stick with like what's in the envelope and try not to be moving money around, and just say like, this is our budget for this. It's like good for self-discipline, and also just with helping us really stick to our budget and just really get down to the nitty-gritty of what we're trying to do, which is spend the least amount of money possible so we can get out of debt faster. The last question that I get asked a ton about getting started with cash envelopes is, aren't I going to overdraft my account if I pull all this cash out at the beginning of the month? And that is where things get kind of tricky and frustrating, I think, for people when they're starting the cash envelope system, because I thought the same thing. If you're following Dave Ramsey's baby steps, you obviously want to get the $1,000 starter emergency fund in baby step 1. But if you're doing cash envelopes, technically you need the $1,000 starter fund, but you also need money to cover the coming month's expenses. So it's almost like, let's say you need $3,000 a month to live on. You really need like your $1,000 starter emergency fund in a savings account, and then you need about $3,000 in your bank account at the beginning of the month. That can be really hard for people that just saved up their first $1,000 or have trouble saving at all, or are always worried about overdrafting their account. What you might need to do is, instead of starting right away at paying off debt, is to build up a little bit of buffer in your bank account before you start the cash envelope system. That's what we ended up doing, and the way you do that is you pause all your unnecessary spending. You're just spending money on things that are totally necessary, like food and rent and gas, utilities, and just kind of don't spend for a few weeks and kind of start building up that buffer. And if you're having trouble getting going, like things are really bad, you're really behind, then you can look at having a garage sale or maybe selling some things on Facebook Marketplace. That's what we did. We made about $2,000 at a garage sale. We were able to pad our account. We also just kind of paused our miscellaneous spending while we were getting started with all of this stuff. That way we're able at the beginning of the month to confidently withdraw each week's grocery budget, our miscellaneous spending, our fund money, all of that, and be ready, have our cash envelopes stuffed, and we're ready to go for the month. If you think it's going to be really difficult to get a whole month's expenses saved up in your account as padding, if you get paid every 2 weeks, you could just do like a 2-week and be like, okay, these cash envelopes are for the first 2 weeks, and then you could restuff once a week or every other week, depending on when you get paid and how all of that works with your budget. And I would recommend not only writing out a budget, but also a calendar where you can actually see what dates everything is due on. And that'll be really helpful for you, because you can know, okay, we need this much in our bank account to cover the first 2 weeks of our budget, and we need this much in our bank account to cover the final 2 weeks in our budget. So let me know, does that answer most of your questions about cash envelopes? Do you have more questions about using cash envelopes? Leave your questions or comments below. Let me know your favorite cash envelope systems. Do you use printables? Do you use envelopes? Do you have one of these fancy cash envelope wallets that I was finding on Amazon today? Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos, and I will see you guys in the next one.